A blast from the past with the coach, Michael E. Taking you back, as I reached in my archives and I pulled out an oldie but a goodie. The coach with DJ, Darren Jackson, radio voice of the Chicago White Sox. And the coach.
The coach, Mike, we made as we're on the road, bring you baseball, and we ran across the man and the radio voice of the Chicago White Sox, DJ. How we doing?
Great, Coach. Beautiful day, warm, good for baseball.
We're taking our youngsters behind the scenes on the major league level, and a lot of them listen to you on radio, but they don't know who Darren Jackson is. So, we got some youngsters that may not know you played in the big league. So let's reflect back a little bit on your history.
That's a deal. It's funny because when I got through playing baseball and became a broadcaster, one thing that I realized is that most people would recognize me only as a broadcaster, not realizing that I played 10 years in the major leagues, but my last year playing was '99 here with the White Sox. And it's funny because I'd left the White Sox after '94 season I'd played here, strike year. I left, went a few different directions, played ball, and then found my way back here. And the key was I found my way back here to the White Sox in '99 because I wanted it to lead to something after working for this organization. Jerry Reinsdorf had been somebody that I had learned to grow very fond of and knew that he was somebody that was the person that I wanted to work for in the future outside of as a player, as a coach, in the front office, in some capacity. It turns out that from being a baseball player, now I get to sit up in the booth with Ed Farmer and analyze games and watch baseball and try and teach the kids that are listening in how to play the game right. And so far, I've really enjoyed it. I've been doing it now for 14 years.
Hey, I used to coach college baseball. I scouted for 5 major league teams. As every kid dream of playing in the big leagues. Where did that dream start for you? Let's go back to high school.
Coach, I'm going to tell you something. I got to go way back before that. I've got a baseball from when I was 10 years old. The first home run I hit in Little League over the fence, we had fences. And
you didn't grow up in the city, did you?
No. No, I grew up in Culver City,
we
California.
don't know what no
That's
fences
right.
are.
That's exactly right. Culver City, California,
You did big league.
Well, it was nice. It was a nice place to grow up and play baseball, I'll tell you that. But my mom got the ball. On that baseball, she wrote, "Keep hitting home runs all the way up to the major leagues." I still have that ball.
Is that right?
So the dream was to, as a kid, and continue on, to not disappoint those that believed in me. And, that's the biggest motivator. When you're playing as a kid, you have those good people around you. It's not just for yourself. I mean, you're trying to live that dream and fulfill everybody else's dreams that have put their time and energy into you to make you better. The coaches that are involved with your lives that believe in you. Yeah. Those are the things that make the difference in a kid's life. It's not just about you. It's about you in the end and how you can succeed. But, you got a lot of people pulling for you and they're in your corner and really want you to succeed. And I was fortunate I was able to do that.
And, when I was scouting, we evaluate the 5-2s of the game. The ability to hit for power, run, throw, and field. So, I'm assuming you had some wheels on you.
Well, fortunately, I was a center fielder, and I ran fairly decent. Most stolen bases I ever had in the minor leagues, I stole 58 one year. Big league level, I didn't run as much because I kind of turned into a little bit more of a power guy. And 14 stolen bases one year, but most home runs I ever hit in the big leagues was 21. So I kind of evolved into the guy that it was fielding, throwing, hitting for power. The average eluded me till I came to the White Sox in '94, and then I hit over 300 that year. And it kind of was all-encompassing, some things special each year of my career that it wasn't ever that it was all one season. The 5 tools came together. It was this, that, and the other. But you know what? I made the most of my ability, and I got the chance to stick around a long time.
She was one of them thumpers you was able to hit, huh?
You know what? I was a dead pull hitter at one time in the National League, and I hit some home runs at the 21 one year, 17 the next year. And then when I came into the White Sox, being around Robin Ventura, Frank Thomas, Julio Franco, all these guys, they convinced me, and the hitting coach, Walt Rainiac, convinced me. These guys said, hit the ball up the middle of the middle of the field. And I hit 312 that year, from 260 to 312. The power numbers went down. I only hit 10 home runs that year, hitting it to center field. But I produced in the clutch, driving in big runs, and that made all the difference because we had a whole lineup of guys that believed in us and hitting the ball to the middle of the field and driving in big runs. We're first place team at the time of the strike. So it really comes down to becoming a team player rather than thinking of yourself and trying to just hit home runs for yourself. That wasn't as beneficial. If you hit them, that's great at the right time, but you really evolve as a player the longer you're in the big leagues, and the more that you learn and the more you play, the better you become.
So for those youngsters out there, which I preach to them all the time, that you got to constantly make adjustments in this game. You can't just stick with one dimension.
Well, hopefully that's exactly what all kids can end up doing if they continue to play this game for a long period of time. But there are some that don't need to. They're so successful and they have a great approach already. You don't need to evolve. You don't need to change. You change when the game forces you to. If you start to have some struggles, or if there's something that's better for the kids that are out there watching, if you see an approach that somebody's using that's better than what you're doing, why wouldn't you try it? It's worth it.
Well, let's talk about this transition from the game to the broadcast booth. Now, what is it like sitting up there, actually your voice trying to put a vision in the minds of the people of what's going on the field?
You know what, that's fun. It's a lot of fun to do that because, you know, you can close your eyes and you can visualize a fly ball deep into the left center field gap and you can talk about it, describe it. The guy is converging on the ball, you know, the wind blowing. It's fun to paint the picture for people that are listening to the radio broadcast. Television is a different dimension because I did television for 9 years before I did the radio these last 5, and the picture's already there for the fans. Yeah. They can see what's going on. You're background to them. You're a voice that's giving them a little different view. You're giving them information of what they're seeing on TV, explaining why it's taking place. But radio, you know, you get to sit back and use your imagination and create dreams and imaginations for those that are listening in. And the transition from player to broadcaster took a lot of time. I mean, because I had no training. I just went up from the field in 1999 to broadcasting in 2000. But fortunately, the White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf, were very patient. They said, look, we know it takes time to adjust from the field to broadcasting. So they were patient with me, and they saw the potential there. Ended up doing a lot of Fox Saturday National games on TV, and it's turned out very nice for me when it comes to the broadcasting career. But the transition takes time. That takes patience, just like learning how to play a new position in baseball. If you're a shortstop and all of a sudden they say they want you to play first base, it takes time. You can't be great at everything. Maybe there's slim few that can transition very quickly, but sometimes it takes a little longer than others. Just got to be patient with it.
162 plus games, you run out of things to say, things to talk about?
I'll tell you this, Mike, there's one thing about baseball. You can see something new almost every day. It's amazing to me how often we're seeing new things take place out here. I don't know how that can be because, like you said, it's 162 games. I've played for 19 years professionally in the minor leagues and the big leagues. I've been doing this for 14 years now, watching all of this baseball. And to this day, I might see something tonight that I've never seen before. So you always have something to talk about. You know, that's the thing about baseball or sport in general, is that there's always a different challenge every day. There's a different pitcher.
You're getting big league, baby.
It's my boy, Chris Ranji. There's different guys that are always going to do something exciting, so you never know what's going to happen tonight in this game. So I sat there in wonderment going, okay, tonight, is he going to make the play? Is he not going to make the play? Is he cold? Is he hot? Sabermetrics come into play nowadays. You look at all the numbers. But at the same time, when you're looking at the numbers and you're talking about statistics, that day these guys that have those numbers may be off. So those numbers don't apply. Yeah. Or this guy may be super amped today, and those numbers, he's going to exceed what the paper says. So you have to take in everything, not just the statistics, but at the same time, what's going on in that particular day. So everyday broadcasting is different.
You know, this is the last question here. I've been coaching and involved with this game for 34 years, and it's in your blood. And when you're in that broadcast booth, being out on the field still tingle in your sometime?
You know, it's funny because when I left playing, I didn't have an urge or an itch to go down and say, I want to play, I want to hit, I want to take batting practice or anything. It probably was about maybe 9 years that I finally said, I wonder if I can still hit. Really, it just crept in. I wonder if I still can hit a little bit, hit one over the fence like I used to. I've never taken batting practice to find out, but I have gone out and shagged some fly balls with the team to see if I can still run them down, and I was able to at least do that and not get hurt. But you know what? I played 19 years, and that was plenty of baseball for me.
Coach, take your youngsters behind the scene with the man, Darren Jackson.
A blast from the past with the coach, Michael E. I have written a book. About Rue Foster, the founding father of Negro League Baseball, entitled Game Changer and the Birth of Black Baseball. And I'm making my rounds, spreading the word.
Chapter 13, HBCUs. For decades, HBCU baseball programs stood as both training grounds and cultural pillars, ensuring the game's continuation among African American athletes. However, in recent decades, a concerning reversal has taken place. By 2005, approximately 80% of HBCU baseball rosters were composed of non-African American players, and 70% of their head coaches were also non-African American. This shift marks a profound change in the historical role of HBCUs, once the heartbeat of Black baseball, and represents a new kind of exclusion within the very institutions built to empower Black athletes. That's www.feoa.info.
Coming up next is Cameron Mayden and the coach.
What it's like being a big league, and I got the man Cameron Mayden.
Mayden.
Mayden, I get it right?
And Mayden.
Coach good at butcher names.
Yeah, no, we're good. You got it right, man.
Okay. Well, we're taking our youngsters behind the scenes of what it's like being a big leaguer. So what has this big league experience been like for you?
It's humbling. It's truly been a blessing for me. I've been able to be doing this since I was 18 years old, and I've always tried to keep my nose to the grind, keep my nose clean, and I've been rewarded for it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we get to have, especially for us young African Americans. Not very many left. So just trying to inspire the youth to stick with it, to get involved in the game. It teaches a lot of character. And it grows your character as well. So it's just been a blessing to be able to have the journey that I've had, and hopefully, looking forward to extend it, as long as I can.
I used to coach college baseball, and I scouted for 5 major league teams. I always tell my guys that scouts look for the 5 tools. I mean, what was the tools that got you over with the scouts?
I think character was one. I think that's a tool that, going into the draft, going into professional baseball, they look a lot at. They want good guys. They want team guys. They want guys that are committed to doing the right things. And, I was, again, blessed with, I think, all the 5 tools. I was always able to hit, run, throw, hit for average, all those little things. So
you was the man, in other words.
Look, I like to say I was blessed.
You was
a
man,
lot of talent, you know what I mean? And just, having the will and fortitude to grow it, man, and expand it. And
you had those wheels out there.
I can still go a little bit. I still go a little bit. I tell all these youngsters, if they want to test me, they can just come find me. But, again, man, speed was probably my best tool. But again, I think the passion, man, you know it. You can't teach it.
You were sweet at bat. You was throwing that lumber.
Yeah, I did well, man. I always been able to hit pretty well, and again, man, I think parenting too. I had a great foundation. It kept me humble, kept me driven, and I got to give a lot of thanks to my parents for always being there for me too.
Who were some of your mentors in all that?
My dad was a big mentor for me. Family is big for me. Some high school coaches were good, keeping me on the right track, and as far as being a leader, not a follower. So a lot of people along the way, have their little fingerprints on our growth, and just thankful for all the people that have supported you.
For those youngsters out there, what was high school for you?
Where?
In
Asheville, North Carolina. So I was born in North Carolina. The beautiful mountains, man. I'm biased, mountain boy. But it was fun, man. I had a great high school career, and I definitely got a lot of memories.
Was you the man in high school? I just want to know, was you the man?
I was all right, man. I hit 667 my senior year.
You was the man.
I was all right.
I call you a country boy.
Yeah, I'm a country boy. Okay. I'm a bumpkin.
I'm a city boy, so I call you a country boy.
I'm a bumpkin.
Coach on the road, take your youngsters behind the scenes with the man, Mayden.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.
Well, we're not going to stop now. We're going to keep the line moving with Justin Upton, the brother of B. Upton, both of which played Major League Baseball. With the coach, a blast from the past, take you back for the entire show today.
And we got the man here, J.U., Justin Upton. How we doing?
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
So, I got a young aspiring group out there that's watching this show that want to know what it's like being a Major League ball player. So what has the experience been like for you?
These last 9 years have been fun. Baseball was, my first love, so to get an opportunity to play at this level, it's a blessing. Every day that I get to step on the field, it's fun. Every day when I go out there with my teammates, we get over 162 game season. Some of my best friends are in this clubhouse, so it's been a life experience that I can't take for granted.
Every kid dreams of playing in the big leagues. So take us back where it started for Justin. What ball?
I started playing 5 years old. I was playing t-ball, but when I got to high school, my high school manager, Wiley Lee, had played professional baseball before, and I was a young shortstop. He was an infielder, so he really took me under his wing and groomed me, for the next level, whether that be college, whether that be professional. But he was hard. He was tough on me. I mean, I remember nights after practice, man, just taking ground ball after ground ball, hitting in the cage, things like that. But I always enjoyed it, and I knew that he was only tough on me because he wanted me to be better and to reach the next level. But I enjoyed my high school days because the guys that I played with, all my teammates, those guys, kind of looked at me as a leader, and I was able to do that and take us to a state championship game and things like that. So those were enjoyable years for me.
Well, you was a man, huh?
No, I didn't think so.
So what about the emotional roller coaster that a major league player go through, the highs and lows of the season?
I mean, this is a game that you're a Hall of Famer if you're successful 30% of the time. So 70% of the time you're getting out. And it's a tough game if you allow it to be. But if you can understand that dropping something in the bucket every day. One of my coaches used to tell me is if you can do something to help your team win every day, and just one thing, and that makes the game worthwhile. And that's something that I've adopted, and whether that be a play in the field or a base running play or a big hit, those are the things that keep you sane playing this game, is that you can do one thing to impact the game.
And Upton, I know this kid, BJ Upton.
Yeah.
Just coincidentally, or is there something to those names?
Yeah, it's my big brother. He kind of paved the way for me. He went through everything I went through before getting drafted. So I was able to see that firsthand. All the traveling, all the showcases and things like that. Playing on that level, and he experienced it before I did. So I was able to see all those things, and I was lucky to be able to see that.
So you didn't see it and think, "Oh Lord, I don't want all this."
No. It was the fact that he made it through and achieved what he's achieved. Made it easier to deal with.
Let me ask this last question. When you got that call that you made it to the big leagues, walked in that locker room for the first time and saw your uniform hanging up, what was that feeling like?
Yeah, that was probably I can't say the greatest day of my life because I got a little daughter now, but that's one of the great days of my life, is walking in and seeing your name on a big league jersey and taking the field for the first time. There's no level higher than this. There's no level higher than the major leagues, and to get there and to stay there is it's a blessing.
Coach, take you youngsters behind the scenes with the man Upton.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, take care of me.
Chapter 6, MLB Hypocrisy. Honoring Jackie Robinson, while ignoring today's decline. It is deeply hypocritical for Major League Baseball to honor Jackie Robinson each year on April 15th for breaking the color barrier while ignoring the sharp decline of African American players in today's league. Yes, MLB retired Robinson's number 42 and asks every player to wear it on this day, a symbolic and meaningful gesture. But gestures alone are not enough. These actions must be supported by real, measurable efforts to address the lack of opportunities for African American athletes in baseball. Can I tell the story?
Well, the coach with a blast from the past and Vernon Wells, reaching back in the well to pull out another oldie but goodie.
The man for the Angels, Vernon Wells. How we doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Well, as I mentioned, my show reaches a young audience, so we're taking them behind the scenes to see what it's like being in the big leagues.
All right.
You had a roughly about 11-year career right now in the big leagues. So what has that experience been like for you?
A lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of failure that comes along with this game, and it teaches you a lot. It teaches you how to handle the failure and what you have to do to be successful in this game, and it makes you grow up in a heartbeat. But I've got to experience a lot of good things, and I'm blessed to be where I am right now.
And as every kid dream and ambition to play in the big leagues. So what was your role like getting to the big league?
For me, it was you go play in cities that you never heard of. You're taking 12-hour bus rides. It's a grind. It takes a lot of work to get to the big leagues, and it's even harder to stay here once you do get here. So it took me 2 years to get to the big leagues the first time. I thought I had it figured out, and then I spent 2 more years in AAA. So I was humbled really early in my career.
So when you were in high school, did you know you would play big league ball?
After my junior year, I thought I had a chance, and then played on a really good team my summer after my junior year, and then had a really good senior year. And the Blue Jays came calling in the first round, and I started my career then.
So what did you do to put yourself on the maps with the scouts? How did you get your exposure, your recognition?
I played in some of the best leagues around. Playing baseball in Texas, playing football in Texas, get a chance to see what kind of athlete you are. And I signed my letter of intent going to University of Texas to play football and baseball there, but my passion was baseball, and I think people in scouts understood that. And I had a workout day and after my senior year of high school, and had roughly about 60, 70 scouts and GMs and at this workout, and it was a fun experience for me.
So, when I was scouting, we talked about the 5-2s of the game. Did you show off that plus arm to the scouts?
I did. That's just one of the things is you got to show off all your talents and what you can do, and sometimes it goes where you want it to, sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes you got to take chances and just throw it as hard as you can.
Were you pretty fast?
I was really fast when I was young. I can still sneak on some people right now, but I might have lost a step or two since I was that age.
So you had the speed, you had the arm. Did you have the bat?
I had the bat with an aluminum bat. I had it, and that's kind of the process you have to go through. Is going from high school to the pro level is getting used to swinging a wooden bat. But I swung the wooden bat as much as I could and practice and things like that. So the transition wasn't too bad for me.
So how much difference is the swing the wood and aluminum for that youngster out there?
It's just that margin of error. With aluminum bat, you have probably 5 to 7 inches where you can hit a ball. With a wooden bat, it's more like 3 or less. So you got to be perfect with the swing if you want to do some damage.
And they say the wooden bat is real baseball.
It is real baseball. It's the sound of aluminum bat kills me now. Just the ping, and it's too loud for me. But when you hear the sound of a wooden bat hitting a baseball, that's what baseball's all about.
How much different was it from that high school level to college level and the pro level?
It's that playing every day. It's getting your body used to doing it on an everyday basis is tough. You go through. I went through soreness after the first week that I didn't think I'd have just playing a simple game of baseball, but it'll get you. It'll creep up on you.
And the wear and tear of a major league season, what does it do for your body?
Once it gets to about August, September, it hurts. It hurts. But you go through probably a 2-week period where you just feel dead, but then you get your feet back underneath you and you get going again. And hopefully this will be my first experience playing in October, so I'll be ready for that.
Well, we got you standing out here in Chicago in the cold, and I know West Coast, y'all not used to this. No. So I'm going to ask you this last question.
All right.
When you get to the big leagues, you get that call and you walk in the locker room for the first time and see your uniform, what was that experience like?
I'll never forget it. Just being in a big league clubhouse. I was nervous, and I told myself, just go up and swing at the first pitch. No matter where it is, just swing at it, get the butterflies out. And I looked at a 4-seam fastball right down the middle. I don't know why I did it to this day, but I remember striking out a couple times, and it just went by so quickly. But it took me a couple games, got a hit, and figured it out after that.
Who was your first hit on?
Eric Milton, lefty.
Home run?
No, it was a double. Scored the game-winning run that day, so it was good. First home run was off Orlando Hernandez, Duque.
See, when they get to the big leagues, they don't forget those firsts.
You don't forget.
Coach, take you behind the scene with the man, Vernon Wells. Appreciate it.
A Blast from the Past with the coach, Michael E. I have written a book about Rube Foster, the founding father of Negro League Baseball, entitled Game Changer and the Birth of Black Baseball. And I'm making my rounds, spreading the word. The Rube Foster legacy yet lives.
Thank you for your support. For generations, the story of baseball integration has been told as a triumph of courage and conscience. But history rarely tells the full truth. Before Jackie Robinson broke the color line, black baseball was thriving. The Negro Leagues filled stadiums, generated millions of dollars, and created economic power within black communities, all under the vision of men like Rube Foster. Then came integration. Branch Rickey opened the doors of Major League Baseball, but when black players crossed over, black ownership did not. Talent was absorbed. Profits shifted. Institutions collapsed. Was it progress or was it acquisition? As Major League Baseball grew wealthier, the Negro Leagues faded into history, leaving unanswered questions about fairness, compensation, and legacy. This is the story behind the celebration, the cost of integration, the dollars behind the dream, and the truth baseball never fully confronted. Game Changer, Rube Foster and the Birth of Black Baseball, the man, myth, the forgotten legend. For a 21st century audience, Game Changer, Rube Foster and the Birth of Black Baseball. Andrew Rube Foster, often called the father of black baseball. He founded Negro League Baseball in 1920 as he established the Negro National League, NNL. Andrew Rube Foster's vision became reality when he called a meeting of 7 black team owners at the Paseo YMCA in Kansas City, Missouri in February 1920. Out of that meeting came the first successful professional baseball league for African American players, providing structure and opportunity for black athletes at a time when segregation barred them from Major League Baseball. The Negro National League, NNL, was officially founded on February 13, 1920, at the Paseo YMCA in Kansas City, Missouri, led by Rube Foster. The league began with 8 teams from the Midwest: Chicago American Giants, Chicago Giants, St. Louis Giants, Dayton Marcos, Detroit Stars, Indianapolis ABCs, Kansas City Monarchs, Cuban Stars. Andrew Rube Foster was born in Calvert, Texas. Both of his parents were slaves. His father was a Methodist preacher. One could imply that this provided a foundation of faith and discipline that would shape Rube's character and sense of purpose. One might even say that his later mission to build the Negro Leagues was divinely inspired. Growing up in the segregated South during the rise of Jim Crow laws, Foster faced the harsh realities of racial discrimination firsthand. Despite these challenges, he developed a deep passion for baseball, a passion that would eventually lead him to change the course of African American sports history.
They're willing to, basically go overseas to get players on the cheap, but won't make that commitment to players right here in this country.
Well, I tell my guys all the time, look in the stands. See the faces that's in the stands. You don't see enough of us in there for them to value us for our dollars. In the Negro League days, yeah, we became the savior again of Major League Baseball, because that 20,000, 30,000 people that were showing up to the games for Negro League games now start showing up to see the black players compete against white players in the major leagues. But now that dollar then faded out, and now they're investing in baseball academies in the Dominican Republic and in other countries, and they look who's taking over the game, and look where baseball is investing money. And then they go in again. They have these urban initiatives where they got an academy that runs year round in the Dominican Republic and in other countries. In black communities, they got some black former major league players going around these urban districts doing a weekend camp once a year. So you go come and show some kids something for 2 days. Give them a bat and a glove and you're gone into next year. Let's not go develop ball players for the major league. We need our own league. We need our own independent leagues. And the last chapter in the book is a call to action. Who's going to be the next visionary of Rube Foster? It was done then, so it can be done again, because history only repeats itself over and over again.
Now I remember you had tried to put together. I think is it still being in the beginning? I know you tried to put together an independent league of yourself, of your own. Talk a little bit about that, and what's again, other than, like you said, what are some of the things that you want to see, that you would want to see happen in this league, but also what's the most important thing that could be done so you can cultivate these numbers so that you will see more, more black players, playing baseball on a college level, on a high school level, and most importantly, on a major league level.
Well, the only way you're going to see that happen, from my perspective, is you're going to have your own developmental leagues where you can bring these top players together to what we call, when I say developmental, basically